Hi guys, I'm Jerome. I'm back for this body club session. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be working our upper back, mid traps, and our lower back. So it's a gentle back session that coincides to try and help improve your posture. So this is like a follow-on, few tweaks to add on to the video that was done previously. So I've got my colleague and friend Aaron back. How's it going?
Good.
Good, good.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, sir. Thanks for coming. If you wouldn't mind just laying face down on the mat for me, please. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some work here. It's going to be working through or across the shoulder blade. So that's your traps. And then we'll be doing some lower back work as well. We'll be doing some stuff that's kind of joined all through together. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with some trap work, some mid-trap work. So what I'd like you to do, Aaron, if you just have your arms out in front of you for me, so just reach towards the window. I'd like you to turn your palms to face each other with your thumbs up pointing towards the ceiling. And what we're going to do from here, you've got your spine here, using the muscles just either side of the spine at the base of the neck or just below the base of the neck. I want you to try and lift your hands off the floor. Try not to use too much in the way of your shoulders. So you've got my hand across on your spine. If you try and pinch that with your shoulder blades and just raise your hands up, just hold that for me and slowly lower. What I'd like is just 10 of those, please, keeping this engaged. So when you come back down, don't relax and don't let your shoulder blades separate. You're going to keep those engaged and drawn back, just raising the arms up, try not to use the lower part of the lat, try and keep it just in the trap. So it's a very short raise. So here, you're using your shoulder. So what I want you to do, in this position here, just squeeze my finger. That's it, and down. There we go.
Oh yeah.
So it is just a very small movement. So if you imagine somebody's got their hand just in between the part of your shoulder blades and you're squeezing that point, that is what's going to lift your hands. Don't use your shoulders and or your lats. We're just trying to pinpoint the mid of the trap. And you want to try not to lift your feet, so we don't want any other muscles engaging to try and travel up and pull back, but just targeting that area. Nice and slow, take your time. And as you come up, you want to try to avoid any rotation. Just try and keep the palms parallel to each other, raising straight up.
Tougher than it looks.
It is difficult. It's not as easy as you might think, because this is where we're trying to build that mind-muscle connection and engage set muscles. We don't want the big muscles to take over. We're trying to target these small muscles here. How does that feel?
Yeah, good. That's tough, and it's really nice to be able to isolate specific muscles, I think. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so with that in mind now, so that was kind of like a eye raise. What we're going to do is, if you bring your elbows down towards your side and just you want your elbows a little bit lower than shoulder height. That's it. So you'll be in what will look like a W position. Yeah. What I'd like you to do now is just lift your elbows up off the floor and your hands off in line with your elbows. So that again, you're going to feel now a little bit lower in the mid-trap. And from this position, I want you to slowly straighten your arms out in front of you, keeping them off the floor. So just push your hands forward, and then now just come back nice and slow, leading through the elbows. And then as you can feel traveling around the shoulder blade,
Yeah.
And back out for me. We're going to do 10 of those. Slowly. You want to slow this right down. So as slow as possible. And as you get used to it, you can then bring your elbows down lower. So we'll be here. Try not to use your traps and lift the shoulder. We don't want the shoulders coming up to the ears. Shoulders stay down. So you should have a nice gap where your neck is. Nothing is coming up towards the neck. Neck stays free. And down. And as you come down, you might get a little activation in the lats. That's no problem, but just gotta go a little bit slower than that there, Aaron.
Okay.
That's it. Nice and slow. Slowly, slowly. That's better. So then you can feel it travel up through the back as you come down, and then you also get a little bit of engagement in the lat as well. And we'll do just one more. I know that's more than 10, but still. Okay. And how did that feel?
Yeah, good. It's so warm in there, like between the shoulder blades, right?
Yeah. Good. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll give the upper portion of the back a little break. If you bring your arms up to in line with your shoulders for me, please. So your elbow in line with the shoulders.
So,
Yeah, that's it. Have your feet together. What we're going to do here, just a back extension, and this is going to target the lower back. So you're going to feel this literally in the small of your back, just above your bottom. But what I want you to do here, Aaron, is keeping your hands in that position, just as a base of support. You're just going to gently lift your chest up off the floor. And that you should feel just here. And slowly lower down. So this is targeting the lower back. So if you have any back pain, typically it's going to be from your lower back. A lot of people might suffer with sciatica. If you can move in this movement, then please do this, as it will help strengthen the lower back muscles, your erector spinae muscles, which typically in the general pop, most are weak. A lot of people overuse their hamstrings and underuse their glutes. So this will help strengthen up the muscles just in the lower back.
How much glute activation do I want in this?
You don't really want much in the
at
way
all.
of your glutes, so you don't want to be squeezing your bum to help lift.
Yeah.
It is literally just in the lower back.
Because I think I'm really guilty of
using your glutes.
Squeezing my glutes.
Yeah, no,
to
your
lift
legs,
my back,
your legs stay relaxed. Your arms are here for support. If you need to push through your arms a little bit, then okay, we'll allow it, but we don't want anything happening below the waist. It should be literally just above the waist, just in the back. That's it, I can feel that working. So you're gonna have two little muscles literally just here. This is what we're working. As you're coming up, you don't want to lift your head up and look ahead. Your eyes are always going to stay looking down at the mat, so we're maintaining as much of a neutral spine as possible. Aaron, what I'd like you to do now, we're just going to make this a little bit harder. If you want a harder variation, keeping your hands essentially in that same position, all you're going to do is just lift your elbows and hands off the floor for me. That's it. So try not to squeeze the shoulder blades in. So we're going to keep that there. And now, again, just in the lower back, you're probably going to get a little bit of glute activation this time. Just lift the chest up off the floor. You don't need to bring your whole sternum up, just the chest to the base of the top of the sternum, up and back down. How does that feel?
Good.
Wonderful. So we can see here there's a little bit of glute engagement for this exercise because there's no upper body support. That's fine. So if you are feeling this a little bit in your bum, it's okay. And we'll do just two more, mate. Okay. And just relax after this one. How did that feel?
Yeah, really good. Again, it's nice to be able to isolate muscles. I think I tend to work really globally, especially with glutes and hamstrings, and then upper part of your rectus spinae, and I'm kind of squeeze everything. When
Everything,
I'm doing,
yeah. No, at times you do just want to target that individual section.
So it feels really good because it's kind of like new muscles waking up almost. Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do from there, we're going to do a little bit of glute work. So all I want you to do is, we'll do it single leg, is just want you to just lift your leg up, but trying to just use your glute. So it's not going to be a full raise. We don't want much hamstring activation. It is just going to be your glute max contracting and then lifting just the knee and foot off the floor and down. So here we're working the glute max, so the main part of the buttock, and this is also going to help in that hip stability where we lift our pelvis, because it's going to be your glutes, it's going to hold the pelvis in place. So if you have a look at the earlier video, that will be explained to you on there. Try not to come too far out. So we're just going to come just to my hand. So it is just a few inches off the floor and down. If you can't manage this control, because he's actually pretty strong in his glute, you might just be taking your knee up off the floor, and that's fine. Whatever you can manage within your set perimeters. But we don't want to come too high, as we don't want too much hamstring activation. We want to try and keep it just in the glute. And just one more.
Yeah, that's definitely something I see a lot of with people into hip extension is that.
Yeah.
And they feel like they've got a straight leg, but actually they're flexing.
Yeah, we don't want that. That's why it is just a very, very small movement. Even that's probably a little bit too high. Right. Essentially, you probably want to come about 6 inches. I think it's about right there, if that. So as a marker, you can just use the heel of your other foot. So if you have your feet together, it's going to let your toes come up to roughly the heel of your other foot, because we're doing single leg.
Whoa.
And that you can just feel targeting the glutes there. Okay, you can stop there, because we're only going to do one side, so I don't want you to have one glute bigger than the other.
Buns are burning though.
One glute bigger than
Buns
the other.
Buns are burning.
All right, if you come into a box position for me, so that's on your hands and knees. Want your hands just underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. So you're going to need to bring your legs back a little bit. 1 foot, there. There we go. So this is our box position. And what we're going to do here is we're going to target the abdomen, and we're going to use it we're going to engage the core for balance. So what I want you to do with your left arm, if you just reach your left arm out in front of you, please. And back down nice and slow, keep it controlled, keeping the abdomen tight, bracing the back. So this is going to work and stabilize your entire core. So you're in the quadruped position, so you're on all fours, one arm just raising up and down. So this is a very simple balance exercise. Again, still challenging the core. We can make this more difficult. So what I'd like you to do now, Aaron, is the same thing, but we're going to raise one arm and the opposite leg. So it's going to be the left arm coming out in front straight, and we're going to then straighten out the right leg using the glute, pushing the heel away. That's it. So your toes are pointing. I want you to push your heel away. So your toes are going to be pointing to the floor. That's it. Trying to keep this tight. You don't want a little arc in the back. We're going to keep that still and stable. Wonderful. And you want to try to avoid your hips turning. So try and keep it as square as possible. How is that feeling?
It's harder than it looks.
Try to straighten the leg out as you come out. There we go. So if you're finding this a little bit difficult, what you can do is you can start off with just one arm, and then we can go into just a single leg. So you've got a 3-point base of support. So if you stop there, Aaron, if you just extend out the left leg for me and keep both hands on the floor. There we go. So try not to move in the core, keep that still. Bring in the knee, and then we're gonna squeeze the glute as we straighten our leg out behind us, pointing the heel down, stretching out through the calf. That's it. How does that feel?
Yeah, good.
So here we're using the core as a stabilizer to keep everything in place, stop that shaking, and our active muscle, the glutes here, or the glute, because we're only using one, extending this leg out. You might also get a little bit in the hamstring, but
yeah,
primarily we want it in the glute. And just 2 more of those, please. Okay. Thank you. So what we're going to do is a variation of that. I'd like you to lay on your back for me, please.
okay.
So what we're going to do here is I would like your arms up, hands, fingers pointing towards the ceiling. So here you can see the shoulders have come off. So Aaron has forgotten about our posture. What we want to do, squeeze the shoulder blades back, elevate in the rib cage, so now your shoulders are going to be closer to the floor. There we go. So we want to make sure we're not actively engaging in that humeral rotation, so pushing those shoulders forwards, separating the shoulder blades. We want to keep those together, which keeps the chest elevated. And don't forget to lift your hips, so your lower back is going to be pushed into the mat. So you should feel all of your spine along the mat or the floor when you're at home. If you feel any gaps, typically it will be in the lower back. You just want to lift the pelvis, push the lower back into the floor. Okay, sorry, I don't have you here for this time. What I'd like you to do also is to have your feet up in the air for me. So you're going to have your legs straight. Actually, no, we'll do it with your feet bent. That's a harder variation. I'll keep it easy for you.
Yes.
If you point your toes up to the ceiling, and then what we're going to do is the same thing. We're just going to lower one arm and the opposite leg. And as soon as your thumb touches the floor, just come back, nice, slow and controlled.
Same side?
Yes, please. That's it. So this is going to be working transversely across the abdomen. Again, it's still going to be engaging. You're going to feel more in your lower abdomen through the movement of your legs. And as you return, you're just going to breathe out. So if you wanted to do this, make this a little bit harder, you can alternate. We're just sticking to the same side. But what we can do, we can alternate. So on this one, if you alternate for me. That's it. Try not to bend the elbow, try and keep that arm straight. So try and lock the arms essentially. Well, just off, so your arms are soft, but as straight as possible. And just 2 more. Try not to let your foot collapse to the floor. You want to keep it just above, just hovering off the floor. That's it. There we go. And if you have your feet down, what I want you to do now is here you're going to bend at the elbows 90 degrees. Keeping your arms in this position. Squeeze your shoulder blades back because you've come off the floor. Keep that in. You want your elbows, essentially your elbows will come out, so you'll be like this. You're going to bring the elbows in, so your elbows are in line, in a straight line with the wrist and the hand. What we're going to do here, relax your shoulders. What I want you to do is you're just going to shoot your hands up over your head, keeping the shoulders down, and then slowly, keeping the elbows in, bring in just beyond that start position. So we're going to try and work the serratus anterior. So don't hit the floor, you don't need to hit the floor, it's gonna come straight out. And then leading through the elbows, just come back. So you're gonna feel this now around the rib cage.
Big time.
And don't forget to breathe out as you return. Breathing in, expanding that rib cage as you straighten your arms up overhead. So you want to try and minimize any shoulder movement, shoulders stay fixed. Should just be your arms coming up and down. So this you'll be feeling just below the pecs, around the rib cage here. If you want to make this a little bit harder, get more of a full body workout, you can incorporate some leg movement. So what we'll do here, Aaron, is we're going to do this with a reverse crunch at the same time.
Right.
So if you bring your knees up to in line with your hips, just to there. As you straighten out, you're going to straighten out all limbs,
Mm-hmm.
keep them just off the floor,
Mhm.
point your toes up though.
Yeah.
It's not Pilates. And then we're going to bring everything in together. You're going to be using your lower abdomen and your hip flexors to be bringing your knees up in. And we're going to come just beyond the hip level, just so we feel a little pull just below the belly button. So here, if you come out for me. And in nice and slow, breathing out. That's it. We're only going to do 5. And out.
I'm sure I can do any more 5.
2, wonderful. Don't forget to breathe. And as you breathe out, you're squeezing in the abdomen. One more. So when he's having his legs out, you can bring your legs out a little bit lower, but just come to where it's comfortable. That's it. So if your legs are out and your arms are out, you might start to feel your back starting to arc. Don't come beyond that point. You want to maintain that spinal contact with the floor. Okay? Wonderful. How was that?
Yeah. Hard. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. If you just come to a seated position for me, so just sit and face the camera. And then what we're going to do here is just another one through the neck and the shoulder, because being in that that forward head carriage with the humeral rotation, you can start to impinge in nerves. So we're just going to do a little exercise to help loosen out the nerves. So if you just have your right arm out for me, you're going to bend 90 degrees, so your fingers are pointing up towards the ceiling. What you're going to do, you're going to turn your palm away from you. Try and maintain as much 90 degrees as you can. All you're going to do is just point your fingers from the ceiling now towards the window and back up and to the window. If you look straight ahead for me. And then what you're going to do with your head is you're just going to try and bring your ear to your left shoulder as your fingers point away.
With my hand?
No. Just your head. And then you come back to neutral as your hands come up. And then head and fingers opposite each other. So this, you've got muscles in the neck, the scalenes that travel down into the fingertips. So this will just help loosen out any potential trapping of nerves coming through the neck, which can be brought on by that forward head carriage or that humeral rotation. Okay, you can stop there. You can also do the same thing on the other side if you want. We're just going to demonstrate one side. If you would now lay down on your side for me, please, any side you want. So you just use your arm to act as a pillow to support your head. For this exercise, your legs can be in any position, but you still want to maintain that chest being up, hips being lifted. So that is your new posture now throughout, maintaining that upright, neutral spine. What we're going to do is just some external rotation for the rotator cuffs. So if you just make a fist with it for me, you can do this with a weight. In this instance, we're not going to. We're going to pinch the shoulder blades back, elbow just in line with the shoulder, and you can do this on the wall to stop you from bringing your elbow back as we rotate externally away from the body. So I just want you to just rotate your fist towards the ceiling for me. And down. So here we're going to be working the muscles inside the shoulder through the rotator cuff. So this is an external rotation because we're coming away from the body. You can also do an internal rotation coming in, which would be with the other hand on the floor coming up to the body. You can do this with a weight, dumbbell, kettlebell. If you don't have any weights, you can just fill like a 2-liter water bottle and use that as resistance. And how does that feel through the shoulder?
Yeah, good. Again, like quite warming on the back of the shoulder.
And we'll do just 2 more.
Yeah, it's starting to get a burn now.
Okay,
Nice.
that's it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we're done. And
Done.
I mean, if we want to do some more glute stuff, we can. It's up to you.
That was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot. I think it's made me realise how much I need to do more isolated work, for sure. Like, you know, finding specific muscles,
Yeah.
that type of thing. I think I'm working too globally at the moment. So, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Thanks a lot.
hope it helps.
Yeah. Cheers.